everybody. Today we are looking into my 2024 JSON Web Token login framework. So let's go ahead and start the walkthrough. So what I've done here is similar to every other year, these last couple of years, is I've created a Node.js backend, and the other years I've been using React. This year is Vanilla JavaScript. It's actually all the same functionality. I just stopped overcomplicating things, and we are just straight up using the stuff that won't go out of style. There's not going to be a whole lot of React in this because I didn't use it, and the reason being is because my last year I was able to make this video, and I used Create React App, and now that's not supported anymore. So ultimately that pissed me off, and I started thinking to myself, why on earth do I have to keep rebuilding these things every couple of years when something goes unsupported? I would never have to do this if I just used vanilla JavaScript, which is coincidentally, I just copied the functionality from my React and then brought it in here. So it's significantly faster, lighter, and better, with the same security and functionality that we had, if not more. So how did I do it, and what are we looking at? Let's get started here. I want to start off with, in the client, well, actually we can go ahead and let's take a look. Here is our tree, and you're going to need a table just to get started with because it's a login framework. So we've got theme, the level of employee, token, password, and email being the key element here, the primary key. And then from there, we've got our server, pretty basic. The only thing different from last year is now that we are endorsing cores as opposed to, we used to be using congruent. And so as you look through this is all very familiar with how Node was already working. Nothing really new here from last year. Now let's take a look at the package.json. We've shrunk it down. We're still using bcrypt, obviously Express, like I said, cores. This is all pretty normal. We've shrunk down. We don't write a lot of scripts for the, we don't have to build anything anymore because I'm not using anything like React. So the scripts are, significantly down in size. This thing starts up immediately. I do not have to sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait for anything. Now, obviously, this is going to be wherever you want to have your database, and this is whatever your secret code wants to be to make sure that your encryption works for your passwords. Okay, here's the client side. Oh yeah, here's this. This is the same file as last year. Like, there's nothing really changed about the node side, the server side. Client side, let's talk about the config. Config is now something called profile. It's got all your local things that can just be filled in. So if you want to start looking for parameters in your URL, obviously you can start doing this stuff here. But for instance, I'm going to have to be calling things with my APIs. So I'm going to always be finding out, well, where is my server located? I don't want to write it a billion times and have it in my hard-coded. Let's put it in here so that all the places are feeding off the same spot. Anywhere where the classes of company website, company name, company address, all these times, anytime any of these show up, I find out and I add that logo, the name, the website. It's all going to be done like this. So as you can see here, that's done ultimately because I've asked it to do that based on the class. And as you can see, this is user email, and then there you go. And then down here, let me see here. If you go here, company name, company website. So as you can see, it applies those things throughout anytime you ever have it. So you don't have to go and do it multiple times. You just name the class and it knows what to do. And then includes your logo. I do that same thing with the logo. This logo in particular is just going to show up on desktop because I have a class that says, I just want it to show up desktop only. But here, as you can see, there's company logo, and it plugs in my freaking logo. Okay, so the relay for the endpoint, this is only because I run things sometimes on Linux. So if you're interested in using Linux, or you want to place this somewhere that has Linux, this will basically, you can change the to whatever your domain is if you want. Right now it's just open. But basically this is going to be like an email form server side for the, and basically when you send something, it'll be like, thanks for your, thanks for sending this, and it returns you back to where you came from using this JavaScript here. But this is confirming that the email did work, and the user's email got sent to the appropriate place. Okay, back to the client. Email relay. Okay, so index is the login, and as you can see, we are doing our profile. We have shared functionality, login functionality, and validation. These are all separate JavaScript files I need for the login. I'm just dicing this up based on what's being used. I'm not going to feed it a bunch of software or a bunch of blocks of code that it's not going to use, or that could ultimately, somebody could figure out something they don't want to. So this is all the basic stuff. I am using Axios because I like it. Sometimes you'll see me using fetch. It just depends. So it's all good. If you want to use fetch, you can switch it out. So here, it's a one-page app because I wanted to make it as close to React as it used to be. But as you can see here, let's say, for instance, on my profile, I got my footer links, I got my social media for this is all, stuff you'll see at the bottom. Here's the content right here. Now I've got, every time you put one of these in here, anytime you have an element in this iteration, it's a page, unless you write the word default. Because contact and settings already have contact, and they already have stuff there, so I don't need it. Obviously, here's my themes list. We'll come across this here in a few. But yeah, so here's the content for home. Here's the content for the about page, and it's all local. Like, you can do however many pages or no pages. It doesn't really matter. It's just the more here, it will just show up at the top, and it will show up as a page as well. That's how it works. So here's the content for that, and here's the content for this. You literally just saw it. The content was just a JSON, and it plugs into the same spot every time. So this would be plugging in to content, the content title, animate, data module content. So anytime you have something that doesn't say default in the content text, it's going to fire off here. So how does this all work? As you can see, that's what I explained, that this is all static. Here is some functionality, and so you can basically change your password, you can delete your user, and they have confirmations so that you don't just do like a human error. And let's see here, your contact, we just talked about this. It has validation, so once you start typing, it knows what's going on, as you can see. It requires to have the email in the correct email format. It has to have numbers for phone. That's it. So if you start typing things that aren't number, it's going to be a problem. You see that? So it needs a specific amount of numbers as well. Anyway, but it's turned off right now because we're running it locally, as you can see here. That server-side file that we were just talking about needs to work. It would need to be somewhere like on a Linux server. But you can do whatever you want with it. I'm just providing that if you want it. And then here's just your logout function, straight up. Like what I did basically, when it comes down to it, is let's go to our JavaScript. Validate works with, obviously, all of our validation with our login and with our forms, our contact form. Footer, this is the JavaScript that will shown on the home.html, but it will not on the index.html. So anytime you see a footer, then you know that's part of, it's only going to be included within the actual login phase. And at this point, you can see how a lot of my navigation is built. You got footer links, you've got the rollovers that animate, and from here you've got my social media. And then, oh yeah, so here, this is just a toggle, so when you say you want to confirm something, and then change theme, obviously, as you watch this, I am changing themes, as we saw on the capability of this in the database. So if I want to change it to something else, there you go. It certainly does change right away. And as you can see here, it's going to my local host. And it is responding with an effective row of 1. That means it worked. So, this is all just boot swatch options. So that's something I try to provide because they have made it so easy. And as you can see here, our themes are all listed. Right here, themes list. Okay, so like I said, the footer, that's all for the logged in people. Obviously, you can change things. This is the allow of a refresh all the way from here to here. And if the refresh finds the token not being legit, it sends you back to the login page. Now, this is our navigation. It basically is telling us now, not only is it navigation to get us around the site to all the different sections, but it also is navigation in the sense of if we're going to open or close the mobile tab. So that same navigation function will dictate, let's say if I want to go to a certain page, settings, that, as you can see, it works here too. It closes and opens the thing. So this is how we're operating that. Anyway, persistence. So as you can see, I'm just storing stuff in local storage. I have home as the default. So let's say if I go to settings and refresh, it's just fantastic. Why is that not working? There we go. Now it's working. Sorry about that, but we fixed it. Anyway, as you can see, this has been fun. It's been something that I've wanted to do for a while. Every year I want to find out like what's going to make me happy, what's the next round of frameworks that's going to be something I feel comfortable with. I'm losing faith in a lot of these frameworks because they shoot themselves in the foot when they'll make something and it's not fast and it doesn't have SEO and they have to rearrange it so it renders before it gets here now, and then it's more complicated, and now you're building out things that are just not necessary. Like this, if you look at this framework and the amount of work put into this, it's significantly less than it would be the amount of work that's put into compiling a React project. That's significantly more software and things going wrong and dependencies and relying on other people's work that's just not necessary. Now, we all know that engineers engineers over-engineer. And they'll just keep doing that, and there's no stopping them. The main goal is getting from A to B, not from getting A to B and then doing multiple circles and jumping jacks. It's ridiculous. Let's just get from A to B so we can focus on the main point. And that's why I've decided to stick with this basic format and not complicate things and try to confuse everyone. So like I said, the footer and all this stuff is going to be brought in from my footer JavaScript. Our login is very small. It's only on the change password, checking passwords, and your login function. All the settings stuff is in the shared functionality or the footer. And this is ultimately our global alert, which has worked for everything, where you pass through the alert level in the message, and this will be color-coded. So for instance, if I go this way and I type in the wrong password, as you can see, that's the global alert working, and it works throughout the entire thing. And with the color coding, we're just using our bootstraps of primary, danger, warning, so on and so forth. And this is, very familiar if you're familiar with my last year's login. So I hope you guys enjoy using this, and I hope this helps you get further in your career, learning. And to me, honestly, having a framework that's ready to go at all times This is a place to start. When you get a grand idea in your head saying, I'd like to build something, the one thing that is kind of problematic is, first you got to build a login framework, and then you can start working on your great project. Okay, well, let's forget about dealing with however long it takes to get that login framework done, and let's install this and start working on our freaking project right then and there. So let me know if you have any questions.